DK Metcalf in a Clemson uniform. We'll talk about it right here on Locked on Clemson.
You are Locked on Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Tiger fans? Happy Friday. Morgan Thomas here, Clemson fan, Clemson grad, host and producer of Locked on Clemson, part-time host and producer over on the flagship station 105.5 FM, The Roar. Thank you so much for making Locked on Clemson your first listen of the day. We're part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day, and a big salute out there to my everydayers. You know who we are, how we do it here on Locked On. Exclusive Clemson content Monday through Friday, every single week. And if you're new to the show, welcome in. Hope you enjoy the show. 75% of you are not yet subscribed, so make sure you go over to where you listen to a podcast, go over to YouTube, wherever you're at. And what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and continue to join us so you never miss another episode. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. We've got a lot to talk about. Starting running back named, which you shouldn't be surprised if you've listened to this show. Things to watch for based on what LSU fans are telling me in the comments. And big concerns for LSU, or maybe possibly the biggest concern for LSU. You will know about it because we will talk about it right here on Locked on Clemson. Clemson's version of DK Metcalf? Maybe. Adam Randall is that guy. Named starting running back for 2025, Adam Randall, 6'2", 235, wide receiver turned running back. Once drew DK Metcalf comparisons from none other than DJ Uiagalelei. And now he's named the starting running back for week 1 against LSU. The starting running back, not outside wide receiver. This is a bold move from Dabo Swinney. Possibly one of the most boldest, if that's how you would say that, but the boldest move of the Dabo Swinney era. It could completely define 2025. If it works out, it could be the big story of the season. Some were saying on the radio today that he could be the one in the Heisman Trophy race, not Cade Klubnik. I don't know how I feel about that. I still think Cade Klubnik is your number one guy out the gate, and possibly that guy you're going to champion the entire season. But if this works out, it could shape the rest of the season and be one of those big Cinderella stories, if you will. Yesterday, Dabo Swinney came out at the Roar kickoff show, and he called in and he told the host there that Adam Randall will definitely be the starting running back when the Tigers take on the LSU Tigers. He has risen to the top above Gideon Davidson, David Eziomume, Keith Adams Jr., and now is leading the way for the job. And we predicted this many, many weeks ago. It was not a concern for me at all. And I knew right when I saw him from the very first drill that he did in practice that they allowed us to see. And I watched the videos of him from other people who sent it to me who were inside practice for longer than I was. I knew what I knew and what you see with your eyes. If a guy looks like a duck, acts like a duck, quacks like a duck, well, he's a duck, you know. And in this case, he looks like a running back. He acts like a running back. I don't know if he quacks like a running back, but he definitely has those things that he needs, in my opinion, to be successful. Adam Randall has always been that guy who just needs to have the football in his hands. DJ Uiagalelei, the quarterback when he was a true freshman, said that he couldn't wait to work with him because he's built like DJ Metcalf, a wide receiver with linebacker size, with speed that could get by those linebackers. Now, we didn't see that come to fruition on the outside mainly because he's not going against linebackers on the outside wide receiver position. But in this new position of running back, he is going to be matched up against linebackers. He is going to be the same size or not bigger than those linebackers. And he is going to be faster than them more times than not. Dabo Swinney said the turning point happened during the ACC championship game when Randall ripped off that big kickoff return that really put Clemson in a scenario to seal the deal in that game. He walked away from it saying one thing: Adam Randall is a problem to tackle. And he had another big run against Texas in the college football playoff. And that further solidified that, hey, this is a guy, you just need to get him the football. Let him do work in space. Convincing coaches and the staff around that it wasn't just a gimmick, it was a solution. They have bought into it. Now it's time for us as fans to do so as well. And we probably, many of us, still need to see it. I, for one, have seen enough. Clemson has star wide receivers all over the place. They've had star wide receivers and star running backs before, but they've never had a running back like this, a guy who actually does measure up pretty similar to DK Metcalf in frame. And you're going to see him in the backfield. Defenses are going to have to really pay attention to that. He's still got some speed when he's in open space. He's definitely got power at over 235. He's bigger than most linebackers that he's going to be going up against, or at least at the same size, and still is a wide receiver level of speed. He's going to be a matchup nightmare because of how he can leak out in the outfit into open field, out from the backfield, and get into positions of success late in the drive, late in the play. This unique identity of having a running back like this is not unique to college football. Honestly, I'd say it's more college football than anything. What we saw with Dabo Swinney last season and Phil Maffa was really more against the trend of what we've typically had with Dabo. He's had usually two guys that could rotate through that were completely different guys. He's gone back to that in this season with a group of guys that are pretty unique in their own right. For fans, though, the depth chart looks good to me. I think you can be confident in the three guys that they have at rotation. They've replaced Maffa now with a group that I believe can be successful. And Adam Randall is one of those guys that is just different. You know, he's more leaning towards the DK Metcalf, Derrick Henry type height and weight than a traditional running back that we've seen in the past. Will he be able to continue his big play ability and continue the confidence that the coaches have in him? This is going to be a huge test for Clemson, for Dabo. And again, it could be one of those defining moments for the 2025 season. Will he get, will he have 1,000-yard rushing? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to get enough touches if they rotate enough. We've already gone through my crazy math in a past episode. You can go find that. I'm not going to bring it up again, but can he handle pass protection? We're hearing he can. He's going to get a heavy look from blitz from the LSU linebackers. Can he handle it? Can he go toe-to-toe with Harold Perkins Jr.? I don't know. We'll have to see. The coaching staff will not allow him to put Cade Klubnik at risk. That's for sure. Any of the running backs. If Adam Randall shines, this could be one of those big-time stories like a Hunter Renfrow story. This could vault him into the national media and the NFL talk for Sunday conversations to get into the NFL draft as a running back. He didn't have time to figure it out, though. LSU is going to be a big test for him. Everybody is talking about LSU and Clemson because that's the big game that's coming up for them. And there is going to be this huge quarterback duel as well. But there are some other key factors that I want us to take a look at outside of just the quarterback duel. And we'll talk about that in the next segment right here on Locked On Clemson. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling for your MVP, Josh Allen, eyeing a long shot division winner, the Detroit Lions, well, maybe they're not much of a long shot, but are ready to crown your Super Bowl champion before even week 1 starts, this is now your moment. If I had to plant my flag right now, I do like Josh Allen. I do like the Detroit Lions, but I'm starting to feel like maybe, just maybe, this is Trevor Lawrence's year to take that big vault forward. He'd be a long shot, but maybe one you throw a little bit at on FanDuel's Futures Day. It's the perfect time to get in when the odds are the juiciest. Visit FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. This game is got a lot of hype. Clemson, LSU. It's got a lot of rankings, 2 top 10 teams preseason. It's going to be decided, though, not by analysts and big talking heads. Hopefully, I'm not one of those big talking heads, but it won't be decided by the talking heads out there. It'll be decided on the field, in the trenches. It'll be decided by the details, the little details. I hear these things keep being brought up from LSU fans in the comments, and also from Clemson fans on their side and their perspective as well. And so I put together a few things, 5 things actually, that I think we need as Clemson fans to key in on, to write down, to focus on. You know how I like to do this for you, how I like to set up games for you. I want you to have player names understood and recognized. I want you to have opponents' names recognized and their skill sets. I want you to know where Clemson can attack the opponent, where the opponent is going to attack Clemson. I want to do the research for you so you can be ready for the game more than the average fan. When you go to a game, I want you to look next to the person next to you and say, hey, this is a guy, watch out for him. You see him moving over there. And then if that guy makes a play, make you look really good to your friends. So I'll do the research for you. But I also like to look in behind enemy lines and see what the opponents are doing or what they're saying to us, because who better to learn about a team than the conversations that are being had behind closed doors from the fan base, because they don't want to be as vulnerable openly. But I have been looking at this, and LSU fan recently said that both teams hinge on the pressure of the quarterback. Which quarterback can handle it? Which quarterback will have to deal with more of it? And they're exactly right. So if you were to give me the number one thing that I think we need to look at into this game on August 30th, is the pressure to the quarterback. However, that's just a scratch on the surface. Week 1 is more than just a SEC, ACC. It is a playoff caliber contest. It's a game that's going to reveal if Clemson's veteran roster is ready for the expectations that are put on them, if Cade Klubnik has finally reached that highest level of potential, or if Clemson is still struggling to get over this losing streak against SEC powerhouse teams. There are some factors that are going to be really important. And it does start with the quarterback battle, for sure. The quarterback battle is huge because Clemson's defensive line has to get to the quarterback quickly. They have to get to Garrett Nussmeier. Will help Peter Woods, TJ Parker, Devontae Capehart against a somewhat revamped LSU offensive line, new offensive tackles. LSU is going to have to figure it out early against Clemson with a new group of guys. Now, they have guys that are talented. highly recruited guys, guys that you should be able to trust, but not guys that have played together very long or played any games together or played many games in general. Will help. Peter Woods, DeMonte Capehart, TJ Parker are going to bring the pressure. You cannot allow Garrett Nussmeier to pick you apart. If you do, the guy's going to have 4,000 yards by week 2. And if you do, those frisbee catching speedsters that we talked about on the outside for LSU are going to be all over SportsCenter top 10. If you don't get pressure on LSU, the game is over. Absolutely. So Clemson's defensive front has to do that. If you find out, and it may not be immediate, I'm not saying hit the panic button 2 minutes into the game. But what I'm saying is, if you can tell Clemson is having to bring a ton of extra guys, those 4 guys aren't handling it, then you've got a concern. The only hope you'd have is that the length of the game would wear them down. On the flip side, LSU's pressure. Can Clemson's offensive line that we trust handle Harold Perkins Jr.? Can the running back like Adam Randall handle Harold Perkins Jr. or Whit Weeks? Both guys who are now as healthy as they've ever been. Clemson's offensive line is going to be stressed out. The tight ends are going to be stressed. The running backs are going to be stressed because they are going to bring the heat. Because for the same reason, Clemson has 5 wide receivers that you trust, one of the best wide receiver groups in the country, according to many analysts out there. LSU cannot allow Cade Klubnik the time. And what does history tell us? History tells us that Cade Klubnik, as he gets pressure, his footwork falls off. Then his decision-making falls off and his accuracy. So Cade does not want to deal with that pressure, but LSU is going to bring it. I don't think Garrett Nussmeier wants to deal with the pressure either in that offensive line for LSU. So to me, number one is who will win the pressure battle and handle it the best. Maybe both quarterbacks will have to deal with that pressure, but who will handle it the best? Another thing that I'm seeing is explosiveness versus patience. I do believe LSU wants to kill Clemson with explosiveness. LSU wants to get Barry and Brown out there, Chris Hilton Jr. or Chris Hilton Jr. or Aaron Anderson, Nick Anderson, Trey Diaz Green. They want to get their big heavy hitters. I'd even say sneak out Harlem Berry, as I mentioned in last show. They want to get out their speedsters out in space and kill you in 45 yards at a time. LSU is going to come at you strong, quickly for the explosive plays. Clemson's defense, in my opinion, is designed to keep everything in front of them and to force long drives. The question is, can Clemson force those long drives, and can LSU sustain over time those drives? I think that they have the talent to do so. But Clemson needs to disrupt the backfield as much as possible. And they need to protect the big play as much as possible. When you allow big plays like that, you don't give your offense much time for rest, and big plays can take out the fan base. So you lose that home field advantage if your fans are seeing that you're getting gashed. There's going to be some chess match out there. Avion Terrell, Ashton Hampton. Who will they go up against? Who will they be matched up against? Can they handle that? Wade Woodaz, Sammy Brown. Will they be able to handle Caleb Durham and Jackson? On the flip side, can LSU's corners handle Antonio Williams, Tyler Brown, Wesco Moore, and even Adam Randall out the backfield? If so, how long? It may be something that this game will be a chess match at the beginning, and slowly as the teams get worn out and get a little bit tired, big openings happen. Rhythm versus disruption as well. Garrett Nussmeier thrives in rhythm. Where he threw interceptions is when he was getting pressured and out of the pocket and disrupted. Clemson's front has to do everything they can to keep them uncomfortable, and LSU on the same side. And then finally, you know what I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to hate to tell you this, but the hidden factors. I have this circled because I do think this is going to be one that could bite them, and that is special teams. The defensive slugfest, if it was to happen, who's going to tilt the field position? If there is an offense that sputters, are you going to change the field position with your punting game? Or are you going to tee up an explosive offense to be able to start from the 40 or the 50-yard line? I'm telling you right now, you don't want that. And in any kind of close matchup, what happens when you throw turnovers into the mix? Conditioning into fourth quarter, turnovers, special teams, those could be the hidden factors that we need to think about as we get into this game. This is the last Friday before college football starts, as week 0 starts tomorrow. Next Friday will be the last Friday leading into the first Clemson game, and I know you're excited about it. This game is going to be a test. Whoever walks away from it will be able to hang their head high, and even if it is a close game, I think the loser could still have a lot to build off of and a lot of success for the rest of the season, because these two teams should be powerhouse juggernauts for 2025. All right, we're going to finish up the show talking about LSU's biggest concern, in my opinion. Guys, you're probably familiar with names like Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them, but you're looking for something that's faster, more modern, more convenient, and it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-generation prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast and on average in just 15 minutes, and the effects can last for up to 36 hours, so you stay confident, you stay in control and ready when the moment's right. As someone juggling a busy schedule, I'm flying a lot. I've got my family. Now football season, I've got this show. A lot is going on. I appreciate things that are fast, things that are simple and reliable. Rugiet Ready checks all those boxes. And I love how the process is handled. You can do it online discreetly, talk to a doctor, and have discreet shipping as well. Nothing awkward about it. Head over to rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing review. Please visit Rugiet website for full safety information. Hey, before we jump into the next segment, I did want to talk to my everydayers out there that have been subscribing, that have been listening and been supporting me and showing me all this love. I really do appreciate it. And one thing that I can do for you is to give you something special. And that's one thing through Clemson and Locked On Insider program we have here. You can get more Clemson content by just talking to me directly through text message. You can join in the Locked On Clemson Insider program where you get one-on-one access to me through text. That's right. We can talk all throughout the week. I can talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. And you can send in your questions about the team. I will answer you immediately. And you can even send in mailbag questions so I can answer them on the show and give you a shout out as well. You can be part of the conversation. You don't need to be on social media with me. You can be directly and have a straight line of communication with me all throughout the season. There's even a 14-day free trial. So you go check it out. Join me, text with me, free trial, 14 days, and you can try it out risk-free. I'll put the link in the description of this video so that you can check it out. So I appreciate it. Everyone is talking about LSU's playmakers, and we know they have playmakers. We get it. They have Garrett Nussmeier. They have Chris Hilton. They have Harold Perkins Jr. They have Whit Weeks. They have, Barian Brown. They have Nick Anderson. They have Caleb Durham. They have everybody. They really, to be honest with you, they're stacked. But nobody's talking about that one group that could decide the entire game. Clemson's biggest advantage could be staring us right in our face, and that is the LSU offensive line. And I'll tell you why. Because they have a fresh look. The guys that were there last year, a lot of them have gone. And that could be the big difference maker in week one. And I'm not telling you that they're not talented. They're talented across the board. There is no question about LSU and talent. So LSU fans, get out of the comments about, but we're talented. We know you're talented. Are you proven? You can't say you're proven because you don't have enough snaps to tell me you're proven or to prove to me that you're proven. Offensive line is where Clemson can win this game. Brian Kelly, Brad Davis, they have worked very hard this offseason to have a consistent first-string offensive line unit throughout camp. And they believe that they have worked it out. And this is what we believe that we will see week one, August 30th. Left tackle, Tyree Adams. They no longer have Will Campbell there. So that's a huge loss compared to what you had in the past. Now you've got DJ Chester at left guard. Now, some of the LSU fans may debate there. They may debate that because, you know, when you look at DJ Chester, he was an all-SEC player, but at the center position. So a lot of fans have said, well, Morgan, he's probably going to play center. Early returns that I'm hearing from LSU websites out there is that he's going to play left guard. So while he did really well at center, he's going to play left guard more than likely to start the season and rotating with Paul Mubinga. So they don't really know who will start or stay in that position. Chester, obviously extremely talented, one of the best recruited guys they got, and obviously an all-SEC center. But they brought in a transfer portal center from Virginia Tech in Braylon Moore. So I tend to agree with the LSU website that I saw that said Braylon Moore would be the center. It seems as if a guy who has 1,500 snaps at center would probably be the guy that you're going to play at center. You know, I mean, crazily enough, that's what I'm thinking. So DJ Chester there, Braylon Moore, center. Transfer from Northwestern, Josh Thompson at right guard. Now he's in his 5th season, has a lot of snaps. Was an honorable mention all-conference guy, but never an all-conference guy. Braylon Moore also as well, a lot of snaps at center. Never really an all-conference first-team guy, second-team guy. Honorable mention, maybe. But guys that have experience for sure. Tyree Adams does not have a lot of experience. DJ Chester has a ton of experience, but at center, Braylon Moore has a ton of experience at center, and Josh Thompson has a ton of experience at guard. Weston Davis is another guy at right tackle. Pretty new as well. 4 of those spots are basically locked in. The left guard being still kind of unsettled and rotating through between Chester and Mubinga. When you're going up against Clemson's defensive front, any sort of uncertainty, any sort of lack of trust, that's where you smell blood as a defensive lineman for Clemson. Clemson's defensive line has to be a big advantage in this matchup. Will Helt, all-conference guy coming from Purdue. DeMonte Capehart, possibly one of the better, lesser-known defensive tackles nobody talks about, but could be a high NFL draft pick if he can stay healthy. Peter Woods, been talked about, one of the best players in the top 100 we did for Locked On Sports. So Peter Woods, definitely there. TJ Parker, many believe is a first-round draft pick. Those guys are looking to disrupt LSU's rhythm and get to Garrett Nussmeier before he ever finds any rhythm. Clemson will try everything they can to collapse the pocket, and they need to. This is where the advantage is made. Garrett Nussmeier throwing 400 yards against Clemson should never happen. Could it happen? Does he have the weapons to do it? Does he have the talent around him to do it? Yes. The risk is there. The concern is there. But the defensive front cannot allow it to happen. Clemson should force mistakes on that offensive line that hasn't played together very much, hasn't played many snaps together, hasn't played many snaps on the outside either in the tackle position. Force mistakes, force turnovers, force game-changing pressure and sacks and tackles for loss. Weston Davis and Tyree Adams are both still very early in their careers. Adams redshirted. Davis has like 20 career snaps. That's not a big sample size to say much about, other than that we know that they have talent. Transfer portal reliance on Josh Thompson and Braylon Moore. They do bring a lot of experience, but their transfers trying to learn an LSU system extremely quickly against a team in week 1 where they cannot make mistakes and figure it out. They have to know what they're doing week 1 immediately. And can these guys do it? Maybe. DJ Chester moving positions. Will it work out, or will they have to move him back to center? And then what do you do with Braylon Moore when you do that? You have some confusion there about how that's going to work out. Clemson's interior push, and these guys have got to get to the backfield. They've got to stress this line out. That's where Clemson will win. Now, Braylon Moore is the most experienced guy, so you do think that he can be that general at the center position. Can he settle everybody in, even though they're not used to the guy on their left and the right? We'll have to see. Can the young tackles hold off Will Helt and TJ Parker? Their left guard rotation, can it handle DeMonte Capehart? That's where the pressure needs to come from. Now, look, Tyree Adams and Weston Davis, I believe that they are great players. But technique, consistency, experience, those are concerns for those two tackles. Are they the same as Campbell and Emery Jones? I mean, you're talking about replacing two multi-year all SEC players who rarely ever gave up many sacks and are in the NFL right now. These two guys that you've replaced them with, again, you're going to tell me in the comments, they're talented. We know that. But can they handle pressure from a Clemson defense that's going to be extremely aggressive with Tom Allen and has a defensive line and linebackers that are some of the best in the country? They're going to get tested immediately. Can you bank on raw talent for 4 in complete quarters? Can you bank on these two guys continuing to hold the standard of what Campbell and Jones left? It's an extremely high bar. Whether you like it or not, there may be some growing pains, and that growing pains may happen to you very early on August 30th. If Clemson's defensive line gets pressure early on in the game, it could end up being a long game for LSU. They're going to test it early, and they should, because they cannot allow the speed on the outside from the LSU Tigers to hurt them and gash them, as we mentioned earlier on in the show. Hey, that's it for Friday. That's it for my show this week. I can't wait to see you next week. I hope you can't wait to see me too. Thank you so much for making Locked on Clemson your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And to my everydayers out there, thank you so much for hanging with me to the very end of the show. And as always, Tiger fans, we'll see you at the top of the hill.